Okay, so now let's go into, we're going to talk about concurrency as well as synchronous. Um, Basically, what's concurrent and serial versus synchronous and asynchronous. Okay, and so we can kind of get an idea, in a nutshell. Concurrency um is all about whether you run things one at a time or simultaneously queue wide. And synchronous and asynchronous is more per task, and I'll show you. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna write a func. Hopefully this illustrates it well enough. So, and then we're gonna call it from our view to load. Print concurrency, and we're gonna say PRINT message. All right. So in a nutshell, we're going to I'm gonna have completion, and completion is going to start. We're just gonna call it start. Okay. We'll start. Oh, start. And then we're gonna say, I'm gonna say, um, dispatch queue label, and we're gonna call this memorial. We're gonna say check dot check. Okay, that's just a name I gave it to it. I gave to it just to differentiate it. You know, I mean, the all the label is a unique identifier for a dispatch queue. That's it, nothing more. Um, so you have that, and then we're gonna say queue dot sync. Okay, and we're gonna say completion. Okay, line 1, sleep 5, and that's it for that. Okay, so we're gonna do this twice. V. Okay, line 2 and line 3. Okay. Now that we have this, let's go over this. A dispatch queue, a private dispatch queue, with just a label means that it is serial. That means it runs one at a time. So that's what these will do, especially given the fact they're also synchronous, not asynchronous, right? So let's go ahead and let's run it. What the results will run in our console. And let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so it's building. There it goes. See, 2, 3, 5 seconds in between. Each one runs. Okay. And then the screen shows. Give me a second. Okay. So oh sheesh. Give me a second. So now we have this, right? And we've seen all of these go one at a time, right? With 5 seconds in between. Okay. And then we could see what was happening on the main queue as far as all this showing. So now we get similar results when we say attributes dot concurrent. Why? Because each member of the queue blocks. Again, you're going to see it 1, 2, 3, one at a time. See, it's taking its time, 5 seconds between each. Then another 5, and then it will show the image view and the buttons. Okay. Now, if we don't want to see that, right? If we want everything to run at the same time, unhampered by by any type of queue that's blocking or any type of serial attribute of a dispatch queue, all this should run at the same time, regardless of what's in between them, because they all fire off at the same time. As you can see, all fire off, and they're all here. Okay. Now, we can also do this. We make this, if we remove this attribute, it becomes serial and they fire one at a time again. But what if we do this? We say async, but we make one synchronous. See that? The other two fire, then number 3 shows up. Okay. There you go. So, and so here we are. 1, 2, 3, and that's kind of the difference between concurrent and serial. Remember, this gives us, when we do synchronous and we have a queue like this, it gives us a little more granular control, right? Because we can block one. We can set one to show up last, right? Like we can make one be the one that shows up last. Or one that shows up first, right? One blocks the rest. My bad. Sorry about that. right? One shows up first but it blocks the rest. So sorry about that. And that's pretty much it. Again, you can have the project that I've already completed, work with the code, play with it, and become familiar with concurrency versus concurrency and serial versus sync and async. You know, sync and async is more granular, right? And concurrency is more dispatch queue scope. All right, on to the next.